Hari Om. This satsang was given to us by our Guru Swami Shri Nispraspandanji on the 29th of December 2024. There was a question a disciple asked. Swamiji, what should one do when aspirations for prosperity remain shadowed by one's sense of self-doubt? Is it even wrong to aspire big in life in fear that the ego will get inflated? Also, what is the sutra to break the curse of poverty? Swamiji approaches this question of the sadhak through various analogies. He also gives out in the process some fundamental principles for rewiring our money mindset. Firstly, he says that one must understand that aspiring big is never a sin. The fundamental principle is that one must not aspire big on the basis of one's ego, but on the belief that it is the will, grace, and strength of Almighty which is the driving force behind the work that one is putting in the pursuit of that aspiration. This keeps one grounded, and a sense of surrender to the divine always prevails in one's thoughts and actions. Secondly, he says that the reason people find it difficult to aspire big, or more specifically, to overcome their poverty, is due to limiting self-beliefs. He then proceeds to give us the examples of many business tycoons who began their life doing menial jobs, some of them even starting off as hawkers on streets. But today, they have proved their mettle and succeeded in building businesses that are highly renowned and dominate the international market. The only difference between such people and most of us has been their constant endeavor to break out of the poverty or middle class mindset. Swamiji gives us an interesting 3-step process to create a success-oriented mindset. The first step is to identify the existing glass ceiling in our socio-economic conditions and identify the people who constitute it. There has to be a conscious effort in steering clear of interactions with people who find comfort in their prevailing situations by criticizing, cribbing, and expressing their frustrations, but do nothing to find ways and means to rise above their miseries. For instance, a street hawker who aspires to become a millionaire will consciously avoid idling away his time in useless chatter with the other hawkers, janitors, and even loafers who crowd around cigarette joints and other such shady places. He will find no interest in their frivolous conversations on rising costs of petty items, so on and so forth. Now, the second step, after having identified the environment that limits us, is to identify the environment and its people we want to be a part of, and then to take steps to get accustomed to it. It is often at this step that one has to conquer and break down the fear barrier. Take, for example, a humble villager who has had no exposure to the cosmopolitan culture. What do we think will be his first reaction upon a visit to an uptown mall? Obviously, he will become conscious of his attire. He may feel awkward using the escalators. He may also be extremely conscious of his eating etiquette amongst the affluent populace around him. But if he overcomes his initial fear and hesitation and begins to make frequent visits to the mall, he may soon become extremely comfortable with the environment at the mall, the people there, so much so that he will even blend in with the crowd. So what changed in the process is his mindset. All other variables in the environment remained unchanged. Swamiji says that the third and final step is to leverage this changed mindset to guide our beliefs and our decision making towards achievement of our goal. So, we can all see that in this three-step process, the environment, both physical and socio-economic, played a key role in defining our mindset. He says that this phenomenon is often even employed by doctors to treat people of psychosomatic disorders. Such patients are advised to take a vacation, retreat, or a pilgrimage, depending on their preferences. And it is observed that in the process, all their symptoms like IBS, digestive issues, irritability goes away. And interestingly, this happens despite a lack of prescribed diet during travels. So what changes for them is nothing but their mindset alone, due to a shift in their environment. Swamiji also gives considerable emphasis on explaining to us how we remain confined to our poverty mindset despite having considerable resources to lead a vibrant and rich life. He lists various scenarios, nudging us to introspect. These scenarios are presented in the form of questions. Let us list each of them. First question. How many of us who aspire to live in a billionaire's mansion will drop our existing houses at once if given an offer right this moment? Will we fear doing so as we have at this very moment no idea how to live in a mansion, how to sustain the cost of living in it, so on and so forth? Second question. How many of us have the fearlessness to embark on a journey without taking with us a stash of cash, an ATM card, a credit card for backup, and even a friend's phone number to secure us financially? Can we proceed on a sojourn in a Buddha-like way? Lord Buddha left his royal palace and kingdom without a penny on him. He never worried about how will he be fed, clothed, and provided shelter for the rest of his life. Can we too undertake such a brave feat today with our existing money mindset? Next question. How many of us prefer to delay meeting absolute necessities and pressing requirements of ourselves and those of our family, waiting for flash sales or happy hours at the daily needs store and village markets? How many of us see expenditure as a loss or wastage of money instead of considering it a use of money? Well, all these questions are only indicative, as there can never be a comprehensive list of symptoms of a poverty mindset. Swamiji now proceeds to the last but not the least of his exposition on the right mindset towards money and success. He says that if we want to achieve something in our life, be it money, status, professional success, or even good health, we must ask ourselves this question: do I deserve this? And then let our consciousness give an honest answer. Only when the answer is yes, I deserve it, is when the mindset can be said to be aligned with our goals and aspirations. If, however, the answer that comes from within is a no, then we must reflect upon the reasons why we believe we do not deserve to achieve our aspirations. And when these reasons are addressed, the mindset will truly become elevated and primed for success. And as far as money is concerned, Swamiji says that we must not have a hoarding mentality. Money should in fact be spent, but it must be spent in pursuit of endeavors of selfless service to living beings, and also upon self-improvement measures. In this way, it becomes a blessing in our life, and it also becomes a blessing for those whom we share this beautiful planet with. Hari Om. This satsang was given to us by our Guru, Swami Shri Nispruspandanji. It was translated from Hindi to English, so it is possible that there may be some shortcomings in the translation. If you have any questions or something was difficult to understand, please leave them in the comment section below. If you'd like to be initiated into Kriya Yoga, you can contact us on our email ID nisprayogkriyayog@gmail.com or on the WhatsApp numbers displayed on your screen. We correspond in English, Hindi, Finnish and Marathi. This is the Nisprayog Kriya Yoga team. Jai Guru, Hari Om.